Africa Business News, proudly sponsored by EY.
Coming up on Africa Business News, top South African retailers in a tussle over anti-competitive behavior in shopping malls. In West Africa, the banking sector attracts more investment, this time out of Qatar. And in East Africa, paid television and mobile telephony increase their dominance on the regional economy. Stay tuned. Africa, it is huge, it is diverse, and its business landscape fascinating and dynamic. And that's our business here on your favorite weekly African business stop. We're joined by Beatrice Gachenge in Nairobi, Wole Famurewa in Lagos, and we will hear from Mhundwa here in Johannesburg. My name is Victor Kgomoeswana, and this is the Africa Business News. Well, Mambo Beatrice, last week we spoke of inflation in Kenya rising to 8.4% due to stronger food prices, and not surprisingly, the Central Bank of Kenya kept the base lending rate unchanged for another year at 8.5%. But at least there's some finality after the long wait, as that very crucial Lamu hub saw the government announce the winning bidders for the construction of that 960 megawatt coal power plant. A consortium of what, 26 companies with a Fortune 500 company? Tell me about it.
Well, Victor, it is very exciting, and of course the consortium is managed by Kenyan companies, that is Gulf Energy and Centum Investment Company. And the $1 million contract will officially initiate the construction of the plant to mitigate Kenya's energy deficit. And of course, we have some more good news coming from the country, Victor, and Kenya's capital markets has taken a big leap today with the listing of the Nairobi Securities Exchange. And this is making it the second in Africa after Johannesburg stock market. Now, the NSE sold a 34% stake, and this was through an initial public offering that was oversubscribed, and get this, by 664%. Now, this is the second highest oversubscription in the history of the market, and this was after the 2008 battery maker Everready IPO. Now, this is the first IPO in over 3 years, Victor, and as trading was beginning today, I could not help but wonder if Africa's largest economy will be taking a cue from Kenya and South Africa, and probably Wole can give us some more details. Wole, are there any plans for the Nigeria Securities Exchange to self-list?
Well, yes, absolutely, Beatrice. It's not something that we're going to see in the next 1 or 2 years, but we do know that the Nigeria Stock Exchange has already appointed some external advisors to look at the process of demutualizing the exchange, which of course is the first stage to putting it as a listed company on the NSE itself. So it is something in the pipeline, but nothing that we're going to see in the next few years.
Well, Beatrice, I see that in Tanzania, one of the major mobile telecoms company in East Africa, Tigo, is set to reward its users with some dividends. Well, I can relate to some shareholders receiving dividends, but users, mobile subscribers, that's a first in Africa, and I dare say in the world.
Well, that's right, Victor. The general manager of Tigo, and that is Diego Gutierrez, said that dividends, which will also be distributed to millions of users, will make them the first telecom company in the world to share its trust fund account through mobile money. And of course, looking at that is of course a first for many African countries.
But just how much will they be distributing? Is this small change or something like that, Beatrice?
I believe it's a figure of a staggering $8.7 million.
Beatrice, on to matters pay television related. South African DSTV has something to offer the viewers of Uganda. Tell us more about that, please.
Well, MultiChoice has unveiled a new channel tailored for the East African market, and it is called Maisha Magic. And the channel will be airing locally produced content. But Victor, some more good news from Rwanda. Now, the country has been ranked as the most competitive economy in East Africa, and this is ahead of Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, and Burundi. Now, this is according to the World Economic Forum 2014 Global Competitive Report, and the report takes into account progress made in a country's institutions, infrastructure, and macroeconomic environment, among other 9 pillars. And it says that Rwanda had jumped 4 positions to 62 out of a possible 144 countries. And this puts it at the 3rd best African economy. And this is after Mauritius and South Africa. Now, Kenya's ranking was at 90, and it's up 6 positions. However, Victor, it is noteworthy that sub-Saharan African countries produced more than half of the 20 lowest ranked countries.
That's true, Beatrice, but what worries me the most is that former leading economy South Africa continues its downward trend, falling to 56th place this year, third among the BRICS economies. The report says that South Africa has done well on measures of the quality of its institutions, including intellectual property protection and the efficiency of its legal framework and challenging and settling disputes. Furthermore, South Africa's financial market development remains impressive at 7th place. Wole, how did Africa's largest economy fare? I'm curious.
Well, not so great, actually. According to the same report, Nigeria also continued its downward trend, slipping to 127th place this year. And that's largely on the back of the challenges Nigeria has with infrastructure. We also had some weak earnings related to oil. So lower oil exports also impacting Nigeria's rating there.
Well, Beatrice, what are the developments in the tourism sector of interest to us?
Well, that's an interesting development, Victor. And as Kenya's tourism industry continues to struggle, and of course this is due to the high spate of security, the government plans to negotiate with the Western countries that have issued travel advisories to ease their stance. Now, countries that have already issued travel alerts include Britain as well as the US, France and Australia. But it's in a case of one man's meat is another man's poison. And excuse the cliche, neighboring Tanzania is poised to take advantage and boost its tourism arrival numbers. Now, the Tanzania Tourism Board expects 2 million tourists to arrive by 2017 when tourists are shunning the Kenyan market.
Thank you, Beatrice Gachenge, out of Nairobi in Kenya. Our next stop is here in Southern Africa, where the Marikana inquiry continues and the gold output of small-scale miners in Zimbabwe has plunged further. South African citrus exports to the European Union are halted due to the detection of the citrus black spot, a fungal infection found among 4 export consignments lately, leaving a lot of money on the table for other global exporters of citrus in Turkey and Spain. But Christine, you have a more interesting story about that tussle between Massmart and other retailers in South Africa for mall space and exclusivity. What's that about?
Yeah, here's the thing, Victor. When it comes to the retailers, the latest skirmish is about what we call lease exclusivity. In a nutshell, this allows your bigger players to block the competition from selling certain products. Now, in this case, it's food. We know that Massmart is predominantly a durable goods seller, and in this case, they're looking to enter the fresh food space. Of course, this is being blocked by the bigger retailers who have exclusivity on their leases.
That's not good news for Walmart. After dropping 25% in its half-year profits, Massmart would be hoping to get somewhere very quickly on this one, Christine. Isn't that so?
Yeah, we know that they've been severely impacted by the downturn on the economic conditions. Of course, being a durable goods provider, that's the last thing that consumers think about, especially when they're under pressure, is durable goods. So it is telling of the economic times that we're living in, and perhaps them entering the fresh food space will help them. But we know that they're in for a long battle. I mean, it's essentially looking to change the fundamentals of an industry by asking to remove that exclusivity clause.
Well, exclusivity. And in Zambia, where copper mining is a major enterprise, operations at the Konkola Copper Mines, KCB, in Njanga Mine outside Chingola were grounded as 3,000 miners belonging to contractors engaged by KCM down tools, demanding improved salaries and conditions of service, refusing to go underground. The workers gathered at the entrance of a KCM plant before marching towards the district's commissioner's office. They were intercepted, however, by the police soon after beginning their movement. Well, minerals are central to African economies, Christine, but you have a story to tell me about Angola and its Kimberley certification process, trying to cozy up and get its approval and certification kosher there.
Well, certainly. I mean, they will have to. They do hold the presidency. And plus, we know that they're looking to bring back diamond polishing. Diamonds
were the source of the conflict in Angola for a very long time. Neighboring down south in Namibia, of course, which is another diamond mining economy, there's a very stunning story of a 78-carat diamond going missing 4 days ago. I saw it on CNBC. I'm not joking. If South African or African economies are going to get their story right on minerals, they have to make sure there's more transparency and ensure that there's more diligence. You can't have diamonds going missing or be non-compliant with the Kimberley certification process. But also, there's a story about banking in Namibia. FNB Namibia realizing a 22% increase in its dividends. But we'll talk about that some other time, because it looks like banks, and more banks will dominate our bulletin today. In West Africa, Wole is waiting to tell us about the breakthrough regarding Africa's largest bank by footprint, EcoBank. Well, we have seen a couple of high-profile investments from the Middle East into Nigeria lately, especially the banking sector and the business empire of Africa's richest. Tell us more about that.
That's right, Victor. The Asset Management Corporation of Nigeria is selling its stake in banks in Nigeria. Foreign investors are looking interested. The deals include the sale of a 12.5% stake in the holding company of EcoBank to the Qatar National Bank for $287 million. The deal is part of AMCON's move to raise cash to pay its bondholders. As you may know, a bit of the history of AMCON. AMCON was created in 2010 by Nigeria Central Bank and Finance Ministry to take out billions of dollars of toxic assets from the banking sector. AMCON now has to redeem bonds issued in exchange for those bad loans and recapitalize Aileen Bank. It has also announced the sale of shares to Union Bank as Atlas Maya, the financial services holding company created by former Barclays Bank CEO Bob Diamond. The announcement is coming shortly before AMCON announces the winners of bids for 3 banks that it recapitalized and owns 100%. Foreign lenders such as South Africa's First Rand Bank are thought to be bidding for Keystone, Main Street and Enterprise Bank. And in another deal, the Investment Corporation of Dubai, the Emirates States holding company, is diversifying its portfolio by investing $300 million into the West African market through a minority stake in Dangote Cement. The deal was announced by Nigerian Stock Exchange this week.
Well, there are more reports of drugs for the treatment of Ebola being approved. Now, how real are these stories? And of course, how close are we to finding the solution?
It's looking better, Beatrice. As you know, the outbreak spread to Nigeria's oil capital, Port Harcourt, just over 2 weeks ago. But many observers are commending how well the outbreak has been contained. Health workers in Port Harcourt say they have successfully treated a relative of one of the 2 people that died after battling the Ebola disease. River State Commissioner for Health, Sam Parker, told journalists that 479 people thought to be at risk of contracting the virus have been traced and restricted in River State. He added that if we do not see a record of any new case this week, the state is firmly on its way to containing the virus.
Well, it is time for us to go, folks, but not without a quick trivia on what happened on this day in African history. There's a couple of important days for the first week of September, including what is called the Lusaka Agreement Day, more about nature conservation, of course, and Victory Day, both September 7th in Mozambique. But which country celebrated its Independence Day, I ask you, on September 6th, Beatrice and Wole?
Victor, I think the answer you're looking for is Swaziland.
Very impressive, Wole, the National Independence Day of Swaziland. The people of Swaziland celebrate what they call Somhlolo Day to mark their independence. The name Somhlolo, the wonder, is also the name of the Independence Stadium, which was also the name of King Sobhuza I, who ruled the Southern African monarchy from 1815 to 1836. He was succeeded by King Mswati II, himself followed by King Sobhuza II, who ruled from 1921 to his death in 1982. Since then, of course, this monarchy, which gained independence from the UK in 1968, has been the domain of King Mswati III. That brings to an end our show this week. Beatrice Gachenge in Nairobi, Wole Famurewa in Lagos, and earlier on Christine Mhundwa here in Johannesburg gave us her insights. Stay tuned to CNBC Africa, folks. We are back with you next week with more African business news. Kwaherini, mabibi na mabwana. Cheers.